It was the later half of 2016, and around that time, I paid a visit to the fifth mall ever covered on this channel, the Randolph Mall in Asheboro, North Carolina. And in June 2019, I came back to visit. How is Hall Property Group handling this mall now that they've purchased it? Well, let's step inside and find out. The year is 1979, and in May, Richard E. Jacobs along with David Hawker came together with a plan for Asheboro, North Carolina, the Randolph Mall. A number of services and residences were forced to relocate in order to make way for the mall, the most notable of which was the Eastside Baptist Church. Eventually, construction began in 1981, and the Randolph Mall was on track to a grand opening in 1982. Belk Yates relocated from downtown to join the mall's anchor lineup, which consisted of Woolco, Eckerd's, and Foodtown. And in March 1982, the Randolph Mall held its grand opening to quite the crowd. Randolph Mall was a hit. Woolco, unfortunately, was short-lived, lasting less than 3 years before it closed. This was addressed quickly, though, as the store was replaced by Rose's. In 1985, it was announced that JCPenney would be coming to Randolph Mall, and the store would open in 1986. Sears would come in later to the mall, the specific date of which is unfortunately lost on me. And fast forward to 2001, Dillard's would swoop in to replace Rose's, while CBL and Associates would acquire the mall from the Richard E. Jacobs Group, making some minor renovations here and there. Eckerd Drug, having vacated in 1997, would be replaced by Books A Million in 2004. Now the trouble period began. 2013. Dillard's would close its doors at the Randolph Mall, but this would be replaced by Dunham Sports, which would open within the next year. 2015 would see JCPenney close, and its mall entrance would be walled off as it would get replaced by Ulta Beauty and Ross Dress for Less. And then, in December 2016, CBL would sell the mall off to, Hall Property Group. I would have done my first visit here back in October 2016, with talks of a buyer already going around at that time. And finally, in 2017, Sears would announce its plan to close a multitude of stores over the year and 2018, with Randolph Mall's location beginning liquidation in mid-2018, and finally shutting its doors in September of that year. In retrospect, my initial prediction on the store could last was a rather stupid one, I'll admit. Nonetheless, this is a rather big hole to fill, and I do wonder if Hull would be able to pull it off. Today, the mall has not been overhauled by Hull Property Group, thank Amy, but Hull does appear committed to keeping the mall on its feet, as Five Below came in to replace a Hancock Fabrics store. It is curious, though, to have seen that 3 years later, the interior has not been touched, besides a few of the walls going up. However, we do have to wonder what will come of the mall as lockdowns become lifted and we come back out into the open. Will this unfortunate current event finally kill the Randolph Mall? Only time will tell, really. Once again, this mall is a firm relic of the 80s, and I am glad that it still looks this way. For now, at least. Where else are you going to find those brick floors, or that conversation pit by Belk? While the curb appeal of this mall is rather lacking outside, the interior still has some neat touches within. So, overall, it did seem that occupancy was still relatively strong the day I was here, and seemed unchanged when I came out here in August. However, this recent event happening is a complete blindside and kind of a slap across the face for just about all of us here. We do have to wonder how many businesses will be able to recover and which ones will be lost forever. I have some very strong opinions on the matter, but this isn't the place to express them, so I can only watch. Some story time from my memories of 2016. Back when Sears was still open, I distinctly remember getting a couple pairs of pants for work. Just some throwaway pairs that I would wear out in a few months. I do distinctly remember talking to a sales associate about the mall, and at one point was even directed to speak with one of the managers about the place. It was interesting to think of the people who have spent most of their days here in Asheboro and how much a part of the community this mall is. I do have to wonder about those associates though. Have they been able to find new jobs at the mall now that Sears is gone? How about a slice of pizza? Gorilla pizza. If I recall though, the hours at this location are a little bit odd, so you'll have to be quick on getting a piece of pizza here. That's a perfectly good piece of pizza to have after a day of mall walking. This mall does take me back a little bit to my earlier days. While my editing skills weren't the best, I do remember having fun at least, as this was my 5th mall in the portfolio, and it was the first one that I considered out of area. My first big steps in pursuing this hobby. I even had some chats with not only the sales associates at Sears, but also an employee at an Asian food stall near Books A Million. Things have changed. Things were much simpler back then, and the community had a lot fewer people trying to impose their personal disputes on everyone else. But I still have fun looking back on all this, and that's my end goal in all this. To have fun. Because if you aren't having fun with a hobby, then what's the point? Anyway, as we get ready to leave, my final thoughts on Randolph Mall. So far, despite all the pot shots and mockery, I will say that Hull Property Group I believe, is doing a decent job with Randolph Mall. The empty Sears building is a concern, but I do hope that Hull can fill that space in as we begin to open things back up. What did you think about Randolph Mall? Did you like it? Hate it? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Well guys, until next time, this is Doomie Grunt, wishing you and the Randolph Mall farewell and good luck.